Good morning. This is a traffic jam, Martizay style. Okay, well, who remembers Max Bygraves? Or perhaps more to the point, who remembers how Max Bygraves would often start some of his little sketches? If you don't know who Max Bygraves was, then chances are you're not an Englishman of my age. He was a very popular entertainer, and he would often start his little pieces with, "I want to tell you a story." And he would often spiel for some time using a little bit of Yiddish and a little bit of stereotypical East End Jewish figures of speeches. Well, this morning I'm not Max Bygraves, but I want to tell you a little story. I decided that something I needed was some trestles. You know what I mean by trestles. They're those sort of foldy things that get used for really useful jobs, like throwing some boards on to use a sort of temporary bench or propping things up. And the brico-marché used to sell these a real nasty, cheap, horrible type of trestle, or tréteau if we're going to do it in French. They used to sell them for about €4 each. And it's fair to say that the €4 ones, they're marginally not as good as firewood. They're horrible, but they're cheap and they work and they do what you want them to do. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to treat myself to 4 cheap, horrible trestles. So this morning I walked into the brico-marché and I looked all round, and they didn't have any of the cheap, nasty ones. They had the very good quality ones. And as we all know in life, you get what you pay for. So if it's a really good quality one with good quality hinges and decent quality timber, they are silly expensive for what I want it for. But I was chatting, as sometimes I do, and one of the other chaps in the shop was trying desperately to throw this lot away. So we revert to plan C, make your own. And look at that, there's enough good timber there to make some really nice trestles. And there's enough nails in it that I can pull the nails out and reuse the nails to fix these all together. That was a result, wasn't it? So there we are. When the need for trestles disappears, which it will do, then this can revert to its other great use and become firewood. Yeah, that won't actually take much work to make some trestles. I shall take the sticky out nails out of them, and yeah, that was a result. Very good result. This is what, why you should have friends in low places. Now, if I'm going to be doing some base level carpentry, I probably need a very base level carpenter's pencil, crayon. How many of you have got this type of carpenter's pencil? Yeah, and how do you sharpen them? Now, I've been known to use all sorts of things depending what tool I've got under my right hand. So I sharpen them on the circular saw, I sharpen them with a plane iron, I sharpen them with chisels, with knives, with all sorts of things. But the other day, moving things around, I found something that I didn't know I had. Look at that. A pencil sharpener with a revolving centre for sharpening carpenter's pencils. So I'm going to stuff that in the hole and twist it and make it all nice and sharp and do some base level carpentry. Well, that's one. Should I paint it in company colours, or is it good enough as it is? And of course you might have wondered what I wanted trestles for. Well, there we are. Some way to get this cart body up high enough that I can work on it. Yeah, it's fair to say it's got some issues. The most serious issue is right there. The timber, I don't know what you'd call it, longer on. Anyway, that bit of wood, as you can see, is just not there. That will require that I graft a piece in. But what I discovered getting this up on this trestle is there's some weight in it. This isn't a sort of pick it up with one finger sort of piece of equipment. That iron bar is quite heavy on its own. So it was a bit of a huff and a puff to get it up here. What I need to do, of course, is I need to get it light enough that I can throw it about and get it under cover, because although we've got beautiful weather at the moment, that is not going to last. So I want to clear some space in the workshop for this job, and I want to take a bit more weight off it, so that it's not going to cause me an injury. But there we are. I thought you might like to just see what we've got going on here. Some of the nuts just undo. Some of them I've had to put a hacksaw to. And one of the minor amusements with this job is, there's a nut. Brilliant. Incidentally, that's a nut that's going to have to be cut off, but it's a nut. And we take a spanner, not a wrench, and that is a 14mm spanner. So naturally enough, we come to this nut, and that isn't a 14mm, that's a 15mm, because these are all hand made nuts. That's another one that's going to have to be cut. But it's little sort of challenges like that. It makes it much more amusing. This isn't like a modern mass-produced car where you take your one and only 10mm socket and undo everything. I'm assuming you found your 10mm socket. No, it's 14mm, 15mm. Some of these are 14mm one way and 15 the other, because they are just hand cut nuts. You know, all goes to make it interesting. Let's just hope that the formation courgette eating team know what to do with quince. I've got at least that much again to still take off the tree. It's been a bumper crop this year. I think what is likely to happen, they're likely to make quince jelly, but that isn't the only thing you can do with them. I'm sure they'll find a use.